Hey YouTube, so I'm coming to you from my car today because I'm back from Germany and I'm heading to my structural therapist. I was dealing with this week's pause, which is the art of returning. Last week, because I was in Germany, I knew when I was coming back, I knew upon coming back that I would have a challenge of just, returning. And I'm right in the throes of this feeling. So this is a good time to not only share it with you guys, but to put it in my journal, because this journal is designed to be real life interaction. It is also sparking in me a lot of intention, a lot of, really thinking about my actions and not just, kind of being a victim of the daily movement in my life. And I actually was going to do a different pause, but I'm just so caught up right now in my energy, my emotions, things aren't going as smoothly as I like. So this pause is the art of returning. How do we carry inspiration forward rather than letting it slip away? Because, we have all these fun things that happen and all these great places we see. And, that's why I like to always come back and take bits and pieces of my travels and put them in a journal. I have so many travel journals, it's crazy. But I like to put them in a journal because for me, it captures the moment and it helps me, really integrate the inspiration. We step away from our routines, whether by traveling, going on a creative retreat, or simply taking a mental pause. And in that space, we find new perspectives. But what happens when we come back? Do we integrate those discoveries? Or do we slip back into our old habits? What is the one thing that deeply inspired me while I was away? How can I bring it into my daily life? What do I tend to forget when I return? First of all, I know I need to give myself grace, because I come in, I want to just jump right back into the saddle, pick up where I left off, doing. And a lot of times you're just not in that frame of mind just to jump in and, start right back where you left off. So that's the first thing. The second thing, within 30 hours of me coming back, that eye problem I had a few weeks back, returned. I was sitting at the computer just doing some work and I could feel my eyes just swelling up. And I went to look in the mirror and sure enough, they were starting again. But the whole time I was in Germany, I didn't have any problem. So I had to start taking, some of the stuff to help with the swelling going down. So that didn't help any. And it sort of just kind of gives you just sort of low energy when you start when your body is starting to fight something like that. And I'm just curious, because I know a number of you reached out to me in the beginning when I first talked about it in January, and many of you said you had similar things happening. My question is, and please put in the comments below, did it return? Did you find that, periodically the eye swelling came back? Maybe not as dramatic as the first time, but you notice it it has come back. It's something about this thing being on repeat. But anyway, I digress a little bit, but I do want, for those of you who have had experience with it, or I think a few of you said your husbands and people you knew had children had it happen to them, let me know. But anyway, so that I was dealing with that, and wow. But I had scheduled this session with my structural therapist because it's like a physical therapist, because I know it's one of the things that really helps to ground me, to get my body back in alignment, to just center my body. It's like getting a good massage. In a lot of ways it's sort of like a massage, but it's more structural, goes a little deeper, and it really does help just to release a lot of tension. And so that's something that I enjoy doing when I come back. So either I'll schedule some kind of massage when I come back, and that's normally a good thing for me to do when I'm sort of re-entering. So having that grace, having something that I know I can come back to that will help center my body, allow any stress, any anxiety, things that have built up just from traveling alone, I give an opportunity for it to release. So that's some of the stuff that I do. But I also got to thinking about this as I've been thinking about this pause, that I feel like I'm also dealing with the art of returning to aspects of myself that maybe have been closed off or put on a shelf for a few years. I think with the pandemic, a lot of what we had been doing, we stopped abruptly. And then sort of picking those old things up that we used to love to do has been slow, if at all. I know people that just haven't returned to some of the things that they enjoy doing. And so the art of returning, it dawns on me, could also have something to do with us picking up those parts of ourselves that we've left off somewhere or that we put on a shelf. Some of the direction that my life has taken me in terms of just my own inspiration, my own desire to continue to be in the best version of myself, is really calling me into some braveness and some boldness. I need to write on here to myself because I need to give myself permission to, you know, because a lot of even what I want to share publicly, you know, it's going to take some courage, because it's not like it's bad or negative stuff or anything, but we live in times that are so polarized, and you can sort of say the wrong thing and then people misunderstand you. And it's not like any of what I'm talking about is like, it's the stuff I think about. You know, I think about, you know, how it's so important for us as women to just really reclaim our wisdom and our own power. And that power is not given to us by something outside of us. It's given to us by something inside of us. Because like the great philosophers have often said, that when you're asking for permission for something, you're acknowledging that the something that you're asking permission from has power to give it to you. So we're healing our lives and healing our families and healing the planet and healing our communities. You know, asking for something outside of ourselves to give us the permission, or being angry about something outside of ourselves, we're giving that the power. I mean, I really see an opportunity for us as women to really just rise up in a beautiful, dynamic, you know, dance spiral and reclaim. Like, ponder that this week as one of the pauses. Like, what have you know, stopped doing? What have you put up on a shelf? What have you put on pause? Speaking of pause, that like you want to encourage yourself to get back into, or like to ask yourself, why haven't I got back to it yet? I know for me returning back to aspects of my creative self, how I want to structure my business differently, how I want to interface and interact with my community differently, you know, hence this direction in my YouTube channel. I know this isn't necessarily popular with everyone, and I don't expect it to be. And I know new people are coming in and saying, oh, I'm so glad I found you. I love what you're doing. So it's the ebb and flow of life. It's no right or no wrongs, you know. And I get it that in me changing the format, it's not going to be to everybody's perfection or to everybody's taste or desires. But there's a lot of people out there that are still doing art videos the way that I used to, and there's some great channels and I still look at them. The nice thing about YouTube being such a huge community of creators, there's always something for everyone. And so, you know, I encourage, you know, folks to, you know, do what makes you happy as well, you know. And I think that, you know, it's an opportunity for us to give everybody grace. We're living in times I think we could all give ourselves and everyone else some grace and just say, hey, you know, everybody has a right to be happy and do the things that they really want to do. So the art of returning has a lot to do with that. I think many of us are desiring to return to aspects of ourselves that maybe we haven't done for 20 years, 30 years. I know many of you follow me have recently gone into retirement, or maybe have been in retirement for a little while, and you're going back and picking up things you used to do now that you have the time and, you know, you just have that presence of mind. And so it's returning to these aspects of ourselves that we know make us happy. And so the art of returning, you know, has a lot of ways that we can look at it, but I just want to encourage you to, you know, as you journal this week on that, as you know, think about this, maybe as you write about it, as you're putting collages, on the pages of your book, like I have been doing in mine, that you really just allow yourself to think more broadly about the things that we get to return to and the permissions we get to give ourselves about that, and the grace, the knowingness to take care of our bodies, take care of ourselves, take care of these vessels, because that's the thing that gets us from pause to pause to pause. So we have to keep, we have to keep our vessels in, just dynamic form, however that is and whatever that looks like for you. Only you know personally what that is for you. And I know a few of you asked me last week, where am I doing the journaling? It's in Patreon, and the links for Patreon are below, so you can pop over and see what I'm doing, get an idea from us, from what we're doing over there. But we're having the best time. So that's where all the journaling that I'm doing, it's normally like an hour-long session, and we just hang out, and everybody's commenting, and we're saying, it's just a great community. So if you're looking for a community and you want to, just go deeper in working along with me in my journal, then yeah, join me over there. What I wanted to do is, so I found this image of the goddess playing the flute, and first thing I came across was some music, and I thought, yeah, I need to have that music. I just need to hear beautiful music playing in my mind, and something that's a little bit like, I was actually thinking about flute music, like the natives play this beautiful flute music that when you're out in nature and they're playing it, it just sounds like the wind. And I found myself hearing that. And then I was just going through my little book, I found the goddess playing a flute. So how appropriate. So I felt, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to, let's use this. Let's see. I guess that's everything for right now. But yeah, the art of returning. So let's ponder and pause upon that. So every time you're sort of taking a few minutes, walking the dog, getting ready to fix dinner, whatever, just walking from one room to another, think about what you may be returning to. But it's an art to it, because it's about the grace. It's about no judgment. It's no right or no wrongs. It's just making space for yourself and every other human that you may come in contact with. And yeah, the art of returning. All right, love you guys. I look forward to seeing what you're doing, and I'll be back to you next week. Much love.